I ended up getting these for a really good deal. $800. Yeah. What is up, everybody? So we are working back on the Dakota. You know, riding season's coming to an end and parts are starting to actually pile up and things are starting to come together. So we got the rear drive line. This thing is a complete and absolute monster of a drive line. I told the guys that this is going to be my new rock slider because it is. Some say I should have just used an auger bit. If I break this, I might just use an auger bit. Next, we finally got the shafts. So, got one Dutchman shaft in there, and I got the other Dutchman shaft right here. So, now I have to grind down the outer diameter of both shafts so the actual rotors can fit over them, because this inner diameter lip right here is actually slightly bigger than even just the factory 9-inch because it comes with drum brakes. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I also got a bunch of spray paint as well. All this textured black is gonna be for the axle housing and all the brackets on the frame, and this, what is this? Charcoal gray. This is for the wheels that I bought. And the reason I bought wheels is because I got a set of 40s. Yeah. It's coming together pretty quick. So the reason that I have spray paint for the wheels that I ordered, I was gonna do bead locks, but time crunch and money crunch time, I ended up finding a set of pretty decent aluminum wheels. They were on blowout. They were just discontinued. But the problem is I can only find 2 of each kind. So I'm gonna scuff them up and paint them all just this charcoal color. And for these tires, I ended up getting these for a really good deal. The only issue with the tires is a little bit of leaf spring wear. It's really just on this tire. This tire has a little bit of cut to it, but this tire is like this almost all the way around, just on this section of tread. But other than that, these are brand new, basically. $800. Yeah, just 800 bucks for all 4 of these. So I couldn't pass that up. That's a great deal. A few other things that I got going on before we get into actually working on the 9-inch, because that is going to be the main premises of this video, is getting the whole rear end done. In the meantime, I didn't video any of it, but I made a nice little center console. So made the lid out of chain. It's just a empty box to put some stuff in. And then I didn't know what I was gonna do with cup holders. I was trying to figure that out, but there's this company, and I thought these were magnetic, but they weren't. They were suction cup. So I went to Home Depot and bought some magnets. So now you can just put this wherever you want. And then we got these bigger ones, and I did the same thing with that. In the back seat for the puppers, wherever she went, there she is. She's gotten quite a bit bigger, and Dakota has to have a place to sit in the truck as well. So I am making a full platform. So this is on hinges. I got to put latches up so I can still get to these bottom pieces there. But this piece right here actually sits flush on top of that box. So with her weight down, it's not going to crack this piece of wood or anything like that. We have a few things ordered coming in to wrap this up. Some waterproof fabric in a sense. And then we're gonna get a nice dog bed and some blankets, stuff like that, just so she's got a comfortable place to lay. So got this cleared out. So all my tools that used to be back here are gonna end up in the bed, and I have to get a toolbox still as well. I forgot about that. But all right, let's go ahead and jump into getting that rear axle done, because this has been a long time coming. I've been doing everything else that I possibly can to keep myself occupied, because I've been waiting on the one shaft to get cut down. Now that it's back and it actually fits, I can finally get this thing rolling and I can get everything done. The wheels should be here next week, I believe. This is October 1st today, I believe, and they should be here around October 6th. So once the wheels come in, I can actually put it on the ground. But this weekend we are going to focus on actually getting the rear brakes on, getting everything painted and finished up. So once the wheels come in, put the tires on the wheels and slap them on the truck, and then bring it over to get the front axle done. It is the next day and we have the shafts grinded down, and now I'm getting the disc brakes all prepped to get welded onto the axle. So I got to take these little nubs off, and then I got to grind down a little bit more on here so it can sit down perfectly over the 9-inch. All right, so got the bracket ground down, sitting perfectly flush. There is still a gap, and I'm going to use a little bit of compressed air to cinch this thing up. A little bit of compressed air, got the gap I wanted, and it's still sitting perfect all the way around. So now we can go ahead and set the angle for this and weld that on and do the same thing for the other. It's kind of a chilly morning, so we got a little fire going. Not that I'm really using it, but got the fire going. It's a nice cold morning. Winter is approaching quick. I got to get this done. So I got both brackets set up at about 33.3 degrees using my fancy little Amazon angle finder. This thing is actually very, very useful. But both of them set up at 33.3 degrees, a few tacks on there. These calipers from Rough Stuff have dual bleeders, which is kind of nice, so you can set them up for driver or passenger. It doesn't really matter which side, but at least one of them has to be above so air can escape. So that's how I have them set up there. So now we're gonna go ahead and take the calipers off, take the rotors off and the shafts back out, so I can go ahead and weld these brackets. So as you can see, I got the brackets welded on, got everything pulled back out. Only the third member's left in there, so I got to pull that out and pull the caps off. So then I can go ahead and actually drop this axle down and paint it. So got to take the third member out, got to paint the pinion guard still, take these bolts off. These bolts are actually possibly a little long, so I might have to get shorter ones, but go ahead and drop everything and start painting it up. got all the bolts, everything else out, and it almost feels like we're going backwards. But we're not, I promise. So, getting some gear fluid that I put in there for grinding the shafts down. I didn't want the gears just running raw on each other. I still gotta clean up the third member and just prepping everything now for paint. So let's get after it. Slowly but surely taking turns on wire wheeling all the rust off. It's gonna take a little bit, and then hopefully we can get down to paint. So I'm starting to paint the axle. Just got this textured Rust-Oleum. It's the stuff that I normally use, but it's starting to come out pretty good. I'm gonna keep painting, wait for the sun to come out, dry this thing, and give a few coats on each side, keep flipping it over, and hopefully get her back in the truck today. I got a few other parts that I have to wire wheel off and paint on the truck. So I gotta wire wheel all this and paint all that, and I might clean up some of the frame while the bed is off and maybe give it a little bit of a spray. Well, we got pretty much everything in. So, got the shafts in, disc brake kits on, brake lines, the brakes are bled, got the shocks in, everything is painted, and this little post, it was steel, so I just welded it on there because I didn't want to drill any holes right there. The only thing I have to put on the 9-inch still is I have to get the right tap for the little breather tube. I ended up getting a second one because the first one went on the Dana 44. So everything for the rear is done, and including the drive line. And this thing is massive. So everything's there and ready to rock and roll. Should be able to go ahead and put the bed back on the truck, with the exception of all the stuff for the fuel line and everything like that. Even with the bed on, I should be able to still get under there and do what I need to do for that. And I'm gonna end up running it up into the bed with the tank back there. But everything else is looking good. She is coming together very nicely. So all I'll really have to do left is get the locker and re-gear for the front Dana 44, because everything else is pretty much done. The exhaust as well. Walking by this reminds me, I still do have to do the exhaust. Once the bed's on, I have to find the center line, drill my hole, and then clamp that piece and cut it to where I need it. Well, last night, a few friends came over, got a little late. We got the bed back on. So the only thing that I was worried about, and what I thought was gonna happen, is that my little cross member piece was gonna be an issue. But I thought it was gonna land on the bottom of the bed, not one of the cross member pieces. So what that means is I have got to mark out where it is in the bed and cut across it so we can actually get the bed to sit down flat. Got this chunk taken out. It was sitting right there on top of that. And now I have this big gaping hole here, and I still have to trim a little bit right around where the shock tabs are, but I think that'll work. I cut back a little bit farther than I probably needed to. So the bed is completely back on. All the bolts are in, and had to trim a little bit more, but not worried about that. I'll end up having a spare tire sitting here. So the next thing is we are reusing my old gas tank. So I have to run all the lines and figure out how I'm going to be strapping this down in the bed. Got the fuel lines off so I can go get new pieces. These are old and worn out. I'm gonna see if I can get whole new ends and everything. And I got the hole drilled. I'm gonna run the fuel lines up to the back and then to the tank, and then I gotta figure out how to strap it. And I got all the lines and everything cleaned up, so I just have to get some wires, run it all, and she'll be good to go. Got the fuel lines ran and all the wires ran up through the bed. Got them ran up through here behind the tank. I still gotta strap the tank down, but I got everything clamped on. Wires ran, vent tube, gotta put some fuel in it. And let's hope it fires. Just gotta jump it with the old ram. Put a little bit of gas in the tank. Got her all hooked up to the battery. She's got power on ignition, so just gonna let her charge for a little bit. And hopefully she'll fire. Says it's got battery and absolutely no fuel. There's 2 white wires that I'm not sure what they are, so I didn't run them. So hopefully I don't need them, but we'll see. Well, she lives. Had some fuel lines backwards. Oh yeah. So since everything is done, the truck runs. Now we can finally start on some of the easier fun projects, the wiring and stuff. So since the fuel tank's done, I just got to get straps for it, tighten it up, get a truck bed box. We can now move on to wiring up the buggy lights and finishing up the rock lights. So I'm going to go ahead and lay all this out, but that is going to be for the next video. So in the next video, we are going to wire all this, get the wheels, get the tires mounted, and get this thing back on the ground. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed this video and stay off-road. Fast as fuck.